Good day, welcome to Science for Grade 7. So from this video, we will learn about scientific investigation. So what do we mean when we say scientific investigation? Scientific investigation is a quest to find the answer to a question using the scientific method. In turn, the scientific method is a systematic process that involves using measurable observations to formulate, test, or modify a hypothesis. So from the definition of scientific investigation, it says here that it is a quest. So when we say a quest, you're looking or you're finding something. You're looking for an answer to a certain problem. So today we will try to understand how scientists do their job in finding answers to our questions. Especially now that we have this pandemic, the COVID-19, scientists are finding the answer, which is they're finding a cure or a vaccine to combat this COVID-19. In order for you to do scientific investigation, you need to do the following. Identify a research question or a problem, state the hypothesis, conduct experiment, analyze the result, and make conclusions. So the first step for scientific investigation is to identify the research question or the problem. You can actually do this through observation. Now, what do we mean when we say observation? Observation is the gathering of information through the 5 senses. So what are these 5 senses? We have your sense of sight, sense of touch, sense of hearing, sense of taste, and smell. All these senses must be used in order for you to gather information around you. Once you have used these observations, you can now ask questions based from your observation. From the comics, it says here that your observation was the toaster won't work. So from that observation, you were able to formulate your research question, which is, why won't my toaster work? So from this observation, you could actually gather or you could actually formulate your research question or problem. By the way, there are actually 2 kinds of observation. We have qualitative observation and quantitative observation. Now, this slide shows the differences between qualitative observation and quantitative observation. So from here, we could actually differentiate these 2 kinds of observation. Let's take a look at the example. From the qualitative observation, it says here, the first example, the flower is color red. Next one, the coffee is hot. Coffee is hot. Now, let's take a look at the quantitative observation next. There are 8 petals of the flower. An average cup of coffee is equal to 250 milliliters. So from that, I think you can actually formulate the differences between these 2 kinds of observation. So from this example, when we say qualitative observation, let's take a look at this one. The flower is color red. What did you use in order for you to observe that the flower is red? You use what kind of senses? You use your sense of sight. So in order for you to have your qualitative observation, you must use your senses. So the flower is red because you were able to see that the flower is red. The coffee is hot. What sense did you use in order for you to determine that the coffee is hot? You use your sense of touch. So you touched the coffee and you felt it's hot. That's why you come up with this qualitative observation, the coffee is hot. Now, let's take a look at this quantitative observation. What do you think is the root word of this word? Quantitative. Quantity, isn't it? So when we say quantity, we're referring to numbers. So as you observe, there are numbers present in each statement or observation. So there are 8 petals of the flower. So you counted the 8 petals of the flower. So there's counting included in the quantitative observation. Now let's have the other one. An average cup of coffee is equal to 250 ml. There is a measurement. You measure the average cup of the coffee. You use an instrument in order for you to measure that quantity. That is your quantitative observation. There is another term that you need to know, the word inference. When we say inference, it is the process of developing logical conclusions from your observations or evidences. When we say logical conclusion, these are reasons behind your observation, and that's it. Now let's take a look at the table below. These are actually examples of observations and inferences. So let's take a look at the observation first. The plant in front of the guidance office are wet. That's your observation. Now if you want to transform that one into an inference, you make logical conclusions. The plant in front of the guidance office are wet because the guidance counselor watered the plant. There is a logical conclusion why the plants are wet, because the guidance counselor watered the plant. There's a reason behind it. Next example. The school fire alarm is ringing. Now what's the logical conclusion behind that? Possible. The school fire alarm is ringing because we are having a fire drill. That will make it an inference. There is a backup. There is a logical conclusion. There is a reason behind that observation. Now, next step for scientific investigation, which is your state the hypothesis. So when we say hypothesis, potential answer to the question that can be tested by gathering information. Take note, your hypothesis must be testable. If you cannot test your hypothesis, then do not do it. Because in science, in order for you to make scientific investigation, your hypothesis must be doable. You can actually do it. You can actually test the different variables present in your investigation. That is your hypothesis. Now let's take a look at the comments. It says here, your hypothesis, maybe the outlet is broken. So you come up with your hypothesis and you come up with your prediction. So if I plug the toaster into a different outlet, then it will toast the bread. So maybe the first outlet that you use is broken. That's your answer for your question a while back. You're trying to predict possible answer for your question. That's your hypothesis. Now, once you have conducted your hypothesis, once you already know the possible answer for your question, you must test it through an experiment. So here comes the fun part. You have to test your hypothesis. So you test your prediction. Plug the toaster into a different outlet and try again. So you test the outlet. If it's working, then it's good. If it's not, then you have to retest it again. In doing or conducting an experiment, there are two variables that you need to know. We have independent variable and the dependent variables. Now when we say independent variable, this is the one being manipulated, a variable that is chosen and controlled by the researcher. And the dependent variable, we're referring to the effect, a variable being measured as a result. Now let's take a look at this example. If a scientist conducts an experiment to test the theory that a vitamin could extend the person's life expectancy, then the independent variable is the amount of vitamins that is given to the subject within the experiment. Why is it that this is the independent variable? Because you are controlling how much, you're controlling the amount of vitamins that you will give to your subjects. By the way, we call them as subjects. Those people involved, those animals involved as subjects. We don't call them human, we don't call them dog, cat, we call them subjects. So in this independent variable, so that's the independent variable of the statement. This is controlled by the experimenting scientist. So that one is being controlled by the scientist. Now the dependent variable, or the variable being affected by the independent variable, is the lifespan. That is the effect that you want to see. The variable that is being measured as a result. That's what you want. Increasing the lifespan. So you conducted an experiment and you tried if the vitamin C is working. If it could prolong the life of a certain person. So that's it. That's the dependent variable, or the variable being affected by the independent variable. So by the way, what do you think is the dependent variable or independent variable from the comics? Remember, there is an example of each step. There is a comics example. I want you to identify the dependent variable or an independent variable from the comics. Then after that, after this video, we will answer that question. I want you to write it on a piece of paper, maybe a scratch paper, notebook, put it in your notes, in your phone. Let's see if you got it right. Watch the next video for part 2. Like and subscribe.